Hey guys, Rich from Rich Mid Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Welcome to another Star Wars Shatterpoint video. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the secondaries in the game right now, giving you our thoughts on them and where they rank against each other. And joining me on this tier list adventure, because we know you all love a tier list, is Mr. Quinn Duggan. Quinn, how the hell are you doing, sir?
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hooray.
Quinn, let's talk about secondaries. And we like to do this, don't we, when we're doing our tier list, because it's important to put into context what it is we're judging them on, what it is they can do. And for me, a secondary at the moment for me seems to fall into one of two categories. They are either all about supporting the other units around them with their tactic abilities, with some other abilities that they've got, which we will go into, or they are there to deal damage. And it feels like they're the sort of two categories that they fall into at the moment. I don't know if you've got anything to add or.
Yeah, I mean, I find typically most characters fulfill, little of column A, little of column B. There are some characters that are solely one thing or the other. I think Jango is the biggest example of just pure damage.
Jango, maybe Savage as well is another good example
Yeah,
of that.
Savage doesn't really help anyone else. That's true. Yeah.
And then there's sometimes a little bit of control thrown in there as well, isn't there? So there are a couple of characters that do have some control as well. Quinn, we need to do a little bit of housekeeping, however, because obviously in the last video we went through all of the secondary units, and as a quick reminder to everyone, this is what it ended up looking like. However, in between then and now, we have had the rest of the contents of the Mace Windu box revealed, and the ARF Troopers. So we knew that we already knew they were going to be a 3 cost, didn't we? Because
most likely we didn't expect them to be a 2.
A 2, yeah, or for Pons to be a 2, right? So they kind of had to be 3. So just so we are finishing this off, because we will be doing Mace Windu in the primaries, and we will be covering Pons in this one as well. ARF Troopers, let's just quickly take a look at them, because they're pretty darn good, aren't they? They are pretty darn good.
They are arguably too good.
Yeah, I do think again, when you compare them to other units of a cost of the same cost, I mean, first of all, the thing that stands out, Quinn, is coordinated fire, right? Giving regular free access to an expose to the Galactic Republic feels very, very good indeed.
It's ludicrously strong, and I say this as, a Republic fanboy. Like, I always knew when this game sort of got announced, Republic were going to be my thing. Like, prequels is my favourite era of Star Wars. I love the clones. I like a lot of the Jedi. But this is a step too far.
Yeah, they also then, I mean, they've got everything else you'd expect a clone to have: defensive maneuver, brothers in arms, pretty standard. And then lastly is Laylo. When a character in this unit rolls defense dice during a ranged attack, if this unit has 1 or more hunker tokens, which they're clones, they always will, add 1 expertise to the roll. So this works a little bit like the Night Sisters, where if they've got a hunker and they're taking ranged attacks, they get some extra things. The Night Sisters only get an extra dice, but guaranteeing 1 expertise, for me at least, is almost better than depending on what you roll. If you then roll 4 expertise, then it's a wasted expertise. But knowing that you're always getting at least that 1 block.
I mean, it's really bad
really
if you're
nice.
being shot at by enemy, like, by a list that has enemy ARF troopers, right?
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so Laylo, I think it's okay. It gives them a little bit extra. Obviously, they're only 7 stamina. They have to be, right? They have to be. So similar stats to the Night Sisters. But then if we take a look at their actual stance. So recon force. First thing, Quinn, what is wrong with this? What is wrong with this stance card?
Well, for one, that they ain't wearing phase 2 clone armor. Like these guys, it's a little less egregious on because there are ARF troopers that operate during later periods of the war where that armor does exist. The real egregious part is that Pons has it.
I know.
Pons is dead by the time phase 2 armor is rolled out. Dead.
One thing I want to pick up on here, Quinn, is I think their actual tree is fine. Nothing wrong with their combat tree.
Nothing
perfectly fine. There. If we compare how good they are with their DC-15 air blaster rifles compared to the 501st on their expertise, it is shocking. Like, I know this game has only just come out, but the 501st need to have their expertise changed on their tree.
They feel like, you know, OG Steve from MCP. That just, you know, they're in the core box, and oh boy, do they feel like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Quinn, just so we can jump onto the secondaries, where are we putting ARF troopers?
S tier and the highest level of S tier. Like they are genuinely game breaking, in my opinion, as a Republic player.
For me, I don't quite think, because they've only got access to one push, I don't quite think that they beat out the Magna Guard. And the reason why is they're maxing out at 6 damage. So they are...
5, I think.
No, 6. Sorry, no, it is 5. Yeah, it is 5 even. So for me, they just don't quite do as much because of those pushes on the Magna Guard, because of the mobility they've got. I would just put the Magna Guard just pipping them. Regular access to expertise is just ridiculous.
Regular access to expose means that whilst they are not they're not having as much impact in their activations or when other things make them do stuff, like the Magna Guard, they are influencing in a Republic list, which is where you will play them. They are influencing probably 85-90% of the attacks made throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, because there's 2 of them, you put them on different flanks.
Magna Guard don't do that.
I mean, by that virtue, you should let me put the Night Sisters higher.
No, because they're not influencing 85 to 90% of attacks, are they?
Hey guys, Future Rich here. I just wanted to stop this video a moment because we did record this before I'd actually had a couple of games against the ARF troopers. And I just want to say Quinn is 100% correct here, guys. It pains me to say it, but he is absolutely correct. These guys in a Galactic Republic list absolutely break the game. They are utterly stupid, maybe one of the most impactful units in the game right now. Yes, they are deservedly in their top of the S tier, but for me they definitely bleed into needing a bit of a nerf. But yeah, back to the video.
Because you simply cannot have that many Dathomirians.
That is fair. That is fair, yeah. So there we go, guys. It feels really bad for the 501st.
Yeah.
Realistically, the only time 501st are getting played now is
when
if
you're
you are
running
playing
Mace Anakin or Mace Vader.
Mace Anakin, Mace Vader. That's it.
To be honest, I think another addendum to this list is because of how good ARF troops are, you could probably put them below 4th system, maybe even into D. I think D's harsh.
No, I think D's harsh, but yeah, I think they can. I think
it is real bleak for the boys in blue.
It's not good, is it?
No.
It's really, really not good. Okay, Quinn, on to the secondary characters. Okay, guys, so let's just go through the rankings again, just so you know exactly what they are. S down to D. S tier is going to be an absolute linchpin of their given. We're calling them factions. We know they're not factions, but those keywords that give the synergy between all the characters. So the Galactic Republic, Battle Droid, Dathomirian, Mandalorian. So
Separatist
they are
Alliance.
Separatist Alliance, yeah. So they are an absolute linchpin of their given faction, or I suppose they are just exceptional at what they do. So you can put them into other places where you maybe, maybe it's outside of their given tags, outside of their given factions. So A tier then is going to be absolutely solid. 9 times out of 10, if you're playing Galactic Republic, you're taking this character, or if you're playing Separatists, you're taking this unit. Sorry, not character. B tier is going to be just good, perfectly serviceable, doesn't need any changes. Is a maybe not a centerpiece, but can absolutely go in there. C even, that was B. C is going to be, they're perfectly fine, but there may be another character or another unit that does what they do better, typically at the same point cost or thereabouts, or there's a different combination you can take that is better. And then D is just really not serviceable at the moment. They need a little something extra. Nice to see, Quinn, that even with the 501st where they were, and with the sister where she was, there wasn't any D tier characters.
Yeah, not quite.
In there. So let's start things off then, Quinn, and let's start with the OG, the boy himself, Captain Rex, CC 7567.
He's always first, kid.
He's always first kid. I mean, we had to put him first, right? He is always first kid. So he's a 9/2. He's going to cost 4. Obviously doesn't bring any force because he's secondary, and right now secondaries don't bring force. His tactic ability is get a move on soldier, choose another Republic character anywhere on the board as long as they're allied, dash, and then they may gain a hunker token, including himself. So he can do this on himself as well. Sorry, not another even. Choose an allied, not another. It's really good, Quinn. For me, it's one of the best tactics in the game. Opening tactics, because you've got characters in a Galactic Republic list that want to get up the board quickly. Typically you're taking 2 Jedi, for example, or at least 2 Force users, shall we say. So I really, really like that. I think
for Republic lists, you want to be moving at least one of your primaries forward. Typically, you've got Kenobi, who does all of his own stuff, and then the other one who needs some help moving. And giving them a hunker whilst you're doing it, or getting the hunker on himself, especially with the Kenobi synergies and all the other stuff. Very strong.
Yeah. Defensive maneuver, pretty standard. He's a clone. They mostly all get access to that.
One exception, I think.
But that's why I said mostly, yeah. And then as you mentioned, Quinn, his only reactive ability, I'm always first kid. So it's going to cost 1. If this unit is not wounded after an allied clone trooper supporting unit within 3 of this unit makes a combat action, that's important that it's a combat action, this unit may use this ability. 1 character in this unit may dash. If it does, so you have to dash. If you're pinned, you can't trigger the rest of your card. You can make a 5 dice attack, ranged or melee, your choice, targeting one of the same enemy characters within range and line of sight. So this happens after the entire unit has taken their or made their attack. If your entire unit targets 2 different characters, Rex gets to choose basically which one he wants to attack. It's really nice, Quinn. It's not something that I use every single time I have access to it. I usually want to get 2 things from it. I usually want to either get, I want to be able to A, make the attack, but B, also get Rex on a point that he's not on, typically. Or
either that or access those early shoves, right?
Access, yeah, exactly that. So I want it to make sure it's going to have an impact on the game, but it's really nice. Innate, bring it on clankers. After an allied clone trooper unit within 3 of this unit gains a hunger token, 1 character in the unit may heal. Do not sit on this. Just being able to remove, and we've seen in the support list, how many conditions are getting slapped out there. Things like expose means your characters will melt. Things like pin cause so many problems for a lot of these characters. Being able to just either get rid of special conditions or just take off some damage. And you have to remember, they've got to be within 3 of Rex, but it's the clone trooper unit that makes the heal. And then it can be on themselves or anyone within 2 of them. So you actually get quite a lot of range there, Quinn, don't you, in terms of where this can affect the battlefield.
Someone on one side of the board with Rex, and then the other person on the other side of the board. The unit is within 3 of Rex. A member of the unit may recover. It could be the one that is like 3 objectives away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also just the action economy this gives you in terms of, one, getting free recovers because you're doing defensive maneuvers, getting hunkers anyway, but also you never have to do a recover action with a clone unit ever again.
Yeah,
because you just go, I'll have a hunker and do it for free.
Yep. Yeah. Now, answer me a question on strain there, Quinn. So strain would affect them, wouldn't it? Because the moment you finish your dash, they're going to, so like on a get a move on soldier, for example, or defensive maneuvers, a strain would trigger at the end of the dash, not the end of the active ability, I believe.
I'm not entirely sure on it because of all of the weird timing issues around strain that I still don't think have been fully addressed. I think some of them have, some of them haven't.
Yeah, I don't think they have. So maybe that's one for a future video. Yeah. Maybe we just do we probably need to end up doing just a video on straining because of all the things it does. But then lastly, Brothers in Arms, if he's got a hunker token, or 1 or more, he has steadfast, which just helps. It helps him a little bit. Quinn, I'll open with this one. For me, I think he is a very, very important part of a clone list. For me, he's probably the most important secondary in a clone list.
In a Republic list in general.
In a Republic list in general. And because of that, for me, he's sitting at the very, very top end of A, or somewhere at the bottom end of S. I think top end of A.
Top end of A
feels about
not
right.
Quite in S. I do also want to mention his stance. Just quickly, because there is actually quite a bit of versatility in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bottom tree,
we didn't mention
he's got very early access to shoves. He's got good expertise for his attacks. Very early access to shoves. 2 shoves on 2 results. Very strong. He's got some recovery in there. Can give out pin. Has a reposition. Or we can go top tree and max out at 7 damage with exposed reposition shove.
Which is not bad.
It's not a bad amount of damage for him to be dealing, especially when you factor in coordinated fires as well.
Yeah, well, especially now he's going to get access to those expos as well.
I know, right?
Also 7-5 on both, which is nice. Yeah. You tend to see a drop off, don't you? He is as good at shooting you with his pistol as he is hitting you over the head with it.
He's not hitting you over the head with it, he's shooting you point blank.
It's John Wick.
Yeah,
clone come out.
Yeah. And obviously A is for always first.
He is always first. Let's move on to Bo-Katan Kryze, not Lady Bo-Katan Kryze. She's not quite there yet. Obviously, it's secondary unit for the Mandalorians. She's got the Pride of Mandalore, pretty standard that both you'll see on Gar Saxon as well. So any other Mandalorian character may make a jump. She's got a jetpack for 1. Mandalorians are stronger together. We've already been through what that does. So she's got all of the usual stuff that a Mandalorian has. She's going to cost 4 points. She's 8 stamina, which I think just hurts that tiny little bit, but
it's understandable when you get to the other.
When we get to the rest of the card, yeah. And then she is going to be 2 durability. So her first sort of unique thing that she's got is Mandalore will survive. After this unit makes a focus action, 1 character in this unit may dash and double heal. And this kind of goes back to what we spoke about with the Mandalorians in the support video, Quinn, doesn't it? The Mandalorians are all about action economy. You do 1 thing and it gets to trigger the other thing. So if we look here at the series of events, she makes a move action. She finishes her move action within range 2 of any other allied Mandalorian unit.
Potentially one she's moved up in preparation for this.
Yeah. She then makes a free focus action. That free focus action triggers Mandalore Will Survive because that is still a focus action. She then gets to make another dash and gets to heal twice. So after doing one thing, she's essentially got 5 actions, 5 things that would normally cost an action. She's managed to do them for one. And we'll see with Gar Saxon, he has similar things, but he's a little bit more on the aggressive side when it comes to things. But Quinn, that really is their shtick right now, isn't it? It's all around that action economy, triggering things off those focuses. And I think it's fair to say that all the Mandalorians are going to have Mandalorians stronger together. Because if they've given them to the Super Mandalorian or Mandalorian Super Commandos, who are kind of the baddies that are on their own,
it
feels like it's going to be a standard thing.
Who is the most solitary Mandalorian? I can't really think of one. You kind of go Din, and then you go, no, he's got the whole watch cult, right?
Yeah, exactly. And with Bo-Katan and everything else. So, and then lastly, we've got some of us serve a higher purpose, and this is really where she becomes a bit of a linchpin for the Mandalorians. Allied Mandalorians within range 3 of this unit that are contesting one or more active objectives have protection and steadfast, which is, yes, it's a range 3, but it is really, really nice.
Importantly, does include herself.
Does include herself as well, yes, because she is an allied Mandalorian character and she's within 3. Because it doesn't say another. That's the key word that you're looking for there, Quinn, isn't it? Is another when we start to talk about those things. So, look, I think she's really good. She's got some tags on there, or some keywords that I'm really excited about. Obviously, Mandalorian, we know, but she's also got Clan Kryze, she's got Death Watch, and she's got Night Owls. Right now, those 3 keywords, those 3 tags, have no impact on the game. I'm sure they are there for future-proofing, but it does leave me with some hope, Quinn, that we're going to get a Clan Kryze leader, we're going to get a Night Owls leader. I mean, you'd think that Bo-Katan would be the Night Owls leader.
I think of those 3, the one that is most likely to have any significance is Death Watch when we get Pre-Vizsla, right?
Pre-Vizsla, yeah, absolutely. Let's have a quick look at her stance card, Quinn, and her combat tree. She's 6'4", 7'4", so she leans slightly towards the melee side of things, but perfectly serviceable at range as well. That Beskar armor, 1 result giving 2, 1 expertise giving 2 is really, really nice. Again, she's got the same expertise when it comes to ranged and melee, and she does a little bit of everything. She's got all access to a hell of a lot of shoves. You can get 3 shoves from her when you max out, plus a jump as well, and the jump happens before the shoves, so you can get yourself into a much better position for the shove,
all those shoves,
to then be able to do
just get an angle or follow. She's backloaded on the shoves, whereas the Clan Kryze that she leads are front loaded on the shoves, which is interesting.
Yeah, but I think she can, if you are looking to take some Mandalorian units, the first thing is, if you're going to take some Mando supports, you really want to be taking either Gar Saxon or Bo-Katan. And for me, Quinn, they're quite interchangeable right now. They're not reliant on
what your list wants, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Having Bo-Katan with the Mandalorian Super Commandos and having them on points and getting steadfast and protection from her make them feel a lot more tankier because they want to be up close and personal, right? Yeah. It's quite good. But yeah, so I think, Quinn, she suffers a little bit in what we said with the Mandalorians last time round.
There's not enough of them.
There's not enough of them. There isn't enough of them right now to make such an impact on the game. Right now, she can affect 5 other characters on the board at the absolute most, and then you'd need all 5 of those characters to be within range three of her,
Three
which is
and beyond points. It's a lot
highly,
of
highly,
jump
yeah,
through.
highly
I
unlikely.
mean, with regard to the Mandalorians, you know what they say? They're stronger together.
They are,
More of them
they
there
are. They
are,
need
the
some, they
stronger they
need some
are.
leaders.
Need some primaries, definitely.
So for me, Quinn, I think she is absolutely perfectly serviceable. I think she's a good character, but less about what is on her card and more about the number of people it can affect. A little bit like we said with the Night Sisters. For me right now, she goes into that B tier.
She probably is
Happy.
I could see her pushing into a very low A slot, potentially, depending on how things pan out. But yeah, I think B is a safe home for her.
Yeah. Okay, Quinn, getting on to the first of our super tactical droids, but the one that is in the core box, Kalani. The most expensive secondary in the game right now, Quinn, costing 5. So in fact the only secondary in the game that costs 5. He's worth every goddamn point.
Yeah. And then some.
If you are running a droid specific, because I feel like now you can lean into other things a little bit with Separatist Alliance, but if you are running a battle droid specific list where you have 2 units of 2 units of any battle droids, for me, Quinn, Kalani is a must take.
Yeah.
He does so much. First of all, let's talk about Roger. At the start of this unit's activation, each allied battle droid supporting character within 4 may dash. You may have noticed when me and Quinn have played games, when we are deploying, really when Kalani is the only other character, or the only character in the game that we're really concerned about getting in perfectly the right place to make sure that he's maximising that Roger. He is an amazing first card to pull. He, for me, Quinn, is also the best first pull on Shatterpoint as well.
He is the best early Shatterpoint in the game. Hands down. Yeah.
So what happens is basically all 4 of your battle droids move up the board. And 4 of those are on big bases as well, so that can make a huge difference. But yeah, just super good, super mobile with what he does. Next up then, Quinn, Tactical Network. Costs of power, but he can get it for free from his combat tree. Choose another allied battle droid character within 4. The chosen character may dash, and then may gain either a hunker token, remove 1 condition from itself, or make a 5 dice attack. I know this confused a few people with the wording here, but you make the dash and then you get to choose one of the extra things that you do. Even if all you're doing is moving them up and getting a hunker token on them, turn 1. It's really good. Really good. Often that 5 dice attack, as we'll see with Concentrate or Firepower, becomes a 6 dice attack. So target Concentrate or Firepower when an allied battle droid, so not just supporting, but battle droid character, makes an attack, including himself. If the targeted character is within 4 of 1 or more allied battle droid characters, the attacking character adds 1 dice. So they don't need to, if they're wounded, doesn't matter, they still count. And it can be 2 characters from the same unit as well, Quinn, can't it? So both your Magna Guards are on somebody, they're both going to benefit from the extra dice.
This is his single most powerful ability.
This is just 1 extra dice on everything. Is crazy, especially when we look at how many times they're going to get to do other attacks, whether it's from Tactical Network that both he and somebody later on in this list has, whether it's from Dooku when one of your primary or secondary characters is wounded. It just keeps stacking up. And because it's an innate ability, it doesn't cost anything. It's really good. He's got 10 stamina, so a high amount of stamina. He has 2 durability. He is susceptible, Quinn, to attacks. If you get into melee with him, he does melt like butter. But, typically your opponent has to come to you. You're not going to go to your opponent with Kalani. Cold Logic, He's got some pretty nice expertise from a defensive standpoint. His offensive expertise isn't amazing, but one crit from one it doesn't stack up. It doesn't scale.
Doesn't scale, but also
one from one
results for 2.
Yeah, is really good. Is really good. His damage output is crazy. He's got pushers. He's got repositions. I've had this guy one-shot primaries, rolling his extra dice and everything else. And then, as we mentioned, he can trigger that tactical network off the back. Quinn, there's no other place for him. Even though he costs 5, he does have access to 2 support units that he can take, which I think helps him a lot. So he can take either the Magna Guard or the B1s. He goes to the top of S tier. He may be the most impactful secondary in the game that we have right now.
He definitely has the most passive power, I think.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Next up, Quinn, rounding out the core box, we've got Gar Saxon, Merciless Commander. 9-2, so a little bit more health than his counterpart, his blue counterpart. He's got everything you expect Mandalorians to have, right? So we don't need to go through that again. What he does have, however, that I am absolutely throttling the shit out of at the moment is I've got you in my sights. Characters in this unit have sharpshooter 2. When a character in this unit makes a attack action, the target does not benefit from cover. After this unit makes a focus action, it gains a hunker. So again, you make a move, you can move a Mandalorian up with a jump, you make a move, you trigger your free focus, it triggers getting the hunker, and then it triggers getting the sharpshooter 2. If your opponent deploys correctly, and there's not terrain in the way and things like that, turn 1, he can be getting up the board and doing 9 dice into one of your opponents. And I've not quite had him daze anybody yet. Sorry, wound anybody yet, Quinn. But he got damn close last night against Alex. He rolled his full tree, which meant he could then jump off and do other things as well. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. Pack Hunter, so if he does get engaged, he does get to add 2 dice if there is another Mandalorian in the mix as well. He's got the Mandalorian tag. He's got the Shadow Collective tag, Quinn, which is one that I'm definitely looking forward to. And he has the Super Commando tag, which is interesting because, you know, maybe that becomes something that they lean upon.
I mean, I doubt it. It's just sort of, some of it's there for flavouring, but also maybe one day.
Exactly. Yeah, it's there just in case, isn't it? They don't want to have to go in and retro add-on tags to cards. They'd rather put them on there. Quick look at his combat tree. Whilst he does get access to a hell of a lot of dice, he does cap out at 8 damage in ranged and 9 damage in melee. Couple of shoves, a strain, a pin, a jump, 6-4, 7-4. So he actually gets more dice in his melee, but as you can see, his ranged expertise is definitely better. Those shoves off his ranged expertise, Quinn, can be really nice.
Yeah, they can be quite impactful. Like, you know, you roll 2 expertise with him, get your full tree. That's triple shove. That is nothing to sniff at.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I'm going to say it again, Quinn. He suffers from the fact that there are not enough Mandalorians. Now, I think he's doing less for other Mandalorians, right? He only needs 1 unit of Mandalorians to be with him to trigger what he needs to trigger. So I do think he's a little bit more independent. I think he doesn't suffer quite as much as Bo-Katan does, because he's not doing as much for everybody else. So therefore, he doesn't need everybody else there.
He's a selfish prick, and that's why you like him. We get it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
He's also the worst Mandalorian. Like,
oh, you mean just in general, not in this game?
Just in general, like, who likes Gar? Like, who genuinely cares about Gar Saxon as a character? Not in
like
generals, as a character.
Yeah. Right. By the way, horrible news. What happened to and I forget the guy's name.
Ray Stevens, I
Ray
believe.
Stevens. Yeah. Who, for anyone that doesn't know, actually cloned him. Cloned him, voiced him during the Clone Wars, and I think a little bit of Rebels as well.
I mean, I think he voiced him in Rebels first.
Oh, probably, yeah, because he didn't come until the
Season
new
7,
season of
yeah.
Rebels, did he? Yeah. Quinn, I'll let you go first on this one. Where does Gar sit for you?
I grant him a seat on the B rank, but I do not grant him the rank of best.
So, I think that's fair. I think it's perfectly serviceable. I think there's one of the characters.
Bo-Katan stocks are only going to go up.
Bo-Katan's stock will go up, and whilst his stock may go up slightly because he gives him more options. Again, he's not doing anything for anybody else, so I am perfectly fine with that.
Also loses points for not being as cool.
No, absolutely. CC2224 Quinn, clone Commander Cody, the other sharpshooter in this game.
Yeah, not quite as good as he.
Is well.
You can say well as many times as you like. You're not going to make me like him.
We've got a big problem. He's quite nice, dishing out that expertise, but the problem is that we've got a big problem. Is that unless somebody moves him up, he's never getting to use it much round one.
The fact that like he's reliant on another, like, you know, a pre-established game state for his tactic to work, I really don't like.
Yeah,
tactics to me should be a thing that always work. Sure, yeah. Kalani maybe doesn't always get to move droids with his thing, but you have some control over that as your first activation, right?
Well,
you have your first activation, you're done for.
I think the difference is here is that you have control over it.
Yeah.
Right? Your opponent has control over this, essentially. So yeah, we've got a big problem. Within 5, contesting an active objective, give them expertise. Now, don't get me wrong, if it all lines up, then it can be really good. Putting an expertise on a big character is nice.
Once again, expose.
Yeah, defensive maneuver is nice. Like again, he gets access to it. Here's where I think he falls down a little bit, Quinn.
I don't know. It's also his best. Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking about the next bit. Go on.
So, say goodnight, clankers. It is essentially exactly what Gar Saxon has, with the difference of Cody has no way of triggering a focus for free whilst attached to something else that he does. He doesn't have that action economy. Yes, he can defensive maneuver and get into position, but he's having to spend a focus to get the sharpshooter to. So I just think it's
really
not as good.
Mobility, and in an objective-based game like Shatterpoint, mobility is rather important.
It is important, yeah. But what he does have, however, Quinn, is bring it down. An innate ability with an allied clone trooper supporting character within 4 that has 1 or more hunker tokens makes a ranged attack as part of a combat action. It may reroll up to 2 of its failure results. Rerolls are sparse in this game, aren't they?
He's the only source of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So this is really nice. There's lots of clone troopers to pick from. Generally, if you're running a Galactic Republic clone list, you have 4 of them on the board, and the fact that it's an innate ability. So if both of those characters are in range 4 of him, when the unit makes an attack, they both get access to this, don't they? It's not limited to the.
It's not limited by any sort of triggering event.
Yeah. So I think that's really nice. Unfortunately, Quinn, I think that's the only really nice thing about his card.
Yeah, I mean, might as well just quickly address his stance. There is not enough damage on this.
No.
Caps out at 8 base, 10 with the expertise, and that initially sounds really good, but you need 6 results to pull it off.
Yeah, and you're rolling 9. Yes, there's no cover. Yeah, I mean, if everything lines up, Quinn, and you've managed to put the expertise on, and you've got the focus, so you're up to 9. You know, you're up to 9 dice. They don't get cover. They don't get expertise. His top end is really, really good, but getting there is so situational and so reliant
Really
on,
difficult.
probably spending force as well to do it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
for me, unfortunately, he is not going to scale as well, right? As we add more clones in, he's not going to get better. Like he doesn't do enough for them, and
I
doesn't
think
do
it would
enough
be
himself.
quite nice if he got his own rerolls. I don't think that would be particularly obscene, especially with the combat tree he has. It'd give him a little something, maybe a little nudge to, give him some reasoning to do that defensive maneuver a little more often. But
Yeah,
yeah, he's not great. I do also think that his tactic ability at the very start of the game, when we only had core box and those 2 wave 1 boxes available to us, it was one of the very few instances of an exposed, like, not off a combat tree, therefore affecting the attack on the turn that it is like put on the board.
yeah,
Now in a world where we've got 2 units with coordinated fire exposed, one of which is a Republic unit, it's
the value
really, really
drops.
lacking. Yeah.
So for me, Quinn, I just think if you look at the other, so who's he competing against, right? Because he's not competing against Rex, he's not competing against Pons, he's competing against Padawan Ahsoka Tano, Barriss Offee, Obi-Wan, right? They're the characters that he's competing against to get into your list, and for me, at least 2 of them are better options, and I
I
think
think
he
he
goes
is
in C tier.
very low C tier. He doesn't quite touch D because Bring It Down is still a good ability.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know what you do to like make him a little bit better. Maybe I don't know, just something a bit more reactive would have been nice. Just something he can do to affect the game when it's not his turn. Yes, he has the rerolls, but just something that feels a bit more active, like he's
yeah.
participating rather than just standing there and be like, "Ooh, bathe in my aura."
Bathe in my aura. Quinn, let's go on to the Mandalorian that is not a Mandalorian next.
The Prime Minister said he wasn't a Mandalorian. It must be true.
Jango Fett, Bounty Hunter. 9-2, he's going to cost 4, but he's got a whole bunch of stuff that he does. Jetpack for 1, which is nice. Capture Wire. Let's talk about this real quick, Quinn. Enemy character within 3. Pull the chosen enemy character 2 towards you, and it gets pin. This won Alex the game last night, being able to pin Mother Talzin, so she couldn't get her reactive identity off. Sorry, really, really good. It means again, Quinn, he falls into that category of single character, single unit who can effectively affect 2 points in a single activation.
Well, potentially 3, right? Because
Potentially 3,
someone on
actually.
another one and then move on to another. Yeah.
Yeah. So really good. Not so fast. Start this unit's activation if 1 or more characters in that unit are within 3 of a character in this unit may use this ability. Roll 5 dice, basically a damage for every crit and every strike. It's niche, okay? It's going to be a niche little thing. It's damage where it doesn't... it ignores protection because it's not an attack. It also ignores a lot of triggers like, you take Darth Maul out with this, Lord Maul out with this. It's not going to trigger his reactive ability or his identity because it's not a ranged attack.
Melee, but yeah.
Melee attack, sorry. It just makes your opponent think, you've got a Darth Maul with 2 health on, Lord Maul with 2 health, and he's within 3 of Jango Fett, and you draw him. It's going to really make you think whether or not you're going to activate him.
So suddenly that Maul starts floating towards the reserve part of your deck.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, Quinn, have we had clarification? Because this is at the start of a enemy unit activation, and a tactic ability is at the start of a
So
enemy unit, a character's active. Like,
I believe this follows the same logic that Savage's Unwitting Brute does, with regard to, obscuring shadows or Lid Receptus army, is that tactics happen at a certain step in the turn order sequence, and then that is when you do player abilities. Like tactics have their own predefined area where they trigger, and then it's player abilities. So even though
I
they
think,
have the same like trigger time, they go on at different steps in that timing chart.
yeah. Now it does say, doesn't it, at the start of this unit's activation. So what would be interesting is, does it carry over? Because we know that it does from Dooku, right? If you've got a character within 3 of you, and you move out of 3, because at the start of your activation they were in 3, they can still move.
That works for Dooku because he selects them then moves, I believe.
Yeah.
Whereas
Do we
with
think
this,
that would? I don't know if it would.
I don't. If you're moved out of range of it by a tactic ability, I don't think you can trigger it because at the point you check for that ability, the tactic is already resolved. You're not in range.
Yeah, maybe that's one for the forums. We'll have to take a look. But really good. It's a nice little thing. It's not something you're going to use on every
You're not going to burn all your force doing
No.
it every activation, but it can catch people out big time.
Yeah, really, really can. My client is getting impatient. So whilst Quinn, he's not a Mandalorian, he does have some action economy there, doesn't he? So after this unit makes a focus action, one character in this unit may jump. Why is that important? Well, it means that for a single action, you get to do 2 things, which, often in this case would be you'd make a focus, you would jump, and you would then make your attack, meaning that you've still got another jump that you can do. But yeah, it's really, really nice, Quinn, isn't it? Getting that effectively free jump when you do the focus.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yes, the action economy of it is nice, but also the fact that it's a jump. It's not actually an action that people have access to typically. I mean, yes, you can climb, but jump gets around the restrictions regarding engagement. It just allows you to do a bit more.
Especially with that capture wire. Again, you can use that jump to get yourself into a much better position to be able to pull somebody off an objective and things like that. And then lastly is, I'm just looking to get paid. When you wound an enemy primary or secondary unit, after the effect is resolved, refresh to force, and one character in this unit may heal. This is very, very good.
It's really powerful, especially because Jango doesn't care about synergy.
Nope.
He can just pop into a list and just hang about with someone who maybe is a bit force hungry, like Anakin, and just, top him up every so often.
Yeah, the absolute only benefit he gets right now from that Separatist Alliance tag, I believe, Quinn, is if he's with Dooku, he can make a dash. I believe that's it.
I don't think there is anything else.
So, Bounty Hunter, Mercenary, Scoundrel, Separatist Alliance. This guy can go in, for me, Quinn, he can go in any list. And because of that force refresh, he's adding a huge amount of value. He can easily control a flank by himself, more than capable of controlling a point by himself because of that capture wire. I think he's absolutely solid. And I like that we have a character like this. I'm just waiting for the Bounty Hunter tag to come into effect.
But hopefully, that mercenary tag comes into effect. He also has, I believe, the highest damage output of any secondary at 11.
Yeah, so let's take a quick look at his combat tree then. So he's only 6'5", Quinn, but as we've just said,
you're always focusing.
You're always focusing with him. So he's 7'5" effectively. His expertise at range is very good. 1 for 1, 2 to 3 for 2, 4+ for. It falls off a little bit on the 4+ because you only get 1 extra, but it's pretty good. The fact, Quinn, that he got gets access to so much damage, so much movement, 2 shoves, 2 jumps, and he can activate his ability for free as well, especially once he's injured. Paying 2 for capture wire feels a little bit bad, but he's just an all-rounder, isn't he? Up close and personal, he's still very good. That damage on the expertise is really nice. And then let's not forget the Beskar armor. 1 expertise for 2 is very, very good. I really like him. Yes, he's not... I mean, he is helping, right? You target primaries with this character. You target primaries and secondaries. And the fact that he gets to refresh force is very, very good. There are so many force... heavy and force reliant factions in this game and characters in this game that being able to refresh 2, that could be a third of your entire force pool. It could be, it's just really, really good. I know where I put him, Quinn, but I'm intrigued as to where you put him.
Because of Jango's ubiquitous utility and the fact that he's so far pretty much the only character that fits that niche, you could say that Obi-2 gets pretty close in terms of being faction agnostic.
Yeah.
He has to be S tier. He is insanely good.
I don't think he's as good as Kalani.
He doesn't do as much for every list as Kalani does for his one list. So I think that's fair.
Cool. Padawan Ahsoka Tano. She's going to cost 4, and obviously she has the stipulation that you cannot take her alongside Ahsoka Tano Jedi no more. 8-2, so decent enough. She's going to cost 4, as I mentioned. Tactic ability is Racia. Start this unit's activation. Choose an Allied Galactic Republic primary unit or an Allied Jedi primary unit, and then that character may dash. It's pretty nice, Quinn. Again, we talked about how important it is to get those characters up the board. I like that it's Galactic Republic and it's Jedi. Gives her a little bit more.
It feels a bit weird given the time period of the character, the fact that every Jedi was part of the Republic at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I gather it just means that she can work in more places in the future. Right now it means that she gets to move Vader, right? That's the only.
She doesn't get to move Vader. Oh, right, you mean Galactic Republic. I thought you were talking with regard to the Jedi tag.
No.
I mean, I guess she'll move Luke when he comes out, even though, she's 20 years older when he's doing his stuff than she is in this character. Why?
I mean,
what
go.
Jedi from that era is not going to have the tag? Even Quinlan Voss is going to have the tag, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. But, it's still, like you said, it means she works with Luke. There we go.
Great. I cannot wait for that team up.
And whatever Daisy Ridley's character's called, I can't even remember her name. Ray.
Do you not remember Ray's name?
Nope. That is how important she is.
Ray Palpatine.
She is fearless. Each character in this unit may jump, cost 1, but she has the same thing as a Sarge Ventress, where she can do it twice. Which is nice.
But nice.
Expensive but nice, but sometimes worth the power, right? Sometimes worth the force to be able to get up there. Deflect, pretty standard, so if they roll failures after a range attack, they're going to take 2 damage. And then getting ahead of yourself against snips. After an Allied Galactic Republic supporting unit within 3 makes a combat action, this unit may use this ability. 1 character in this unit may jump, then make a 5-dice attack, targeting one of the same enemy characters within range and line of sight. This, for me, Quinn, is what makes her awesome.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is a jump, not a dash, not a reposition or anything like that. The fact that she can engage with somebody else, jump out of that, get to a point. Quite often she's been pushed off and she wants to jump back and get...
jumps back on it. I think also the really big thing is that before she takes her first wound, it's free.
Yes,
there is no reason to not do it, whereas with Rex you are weighing up the opportunity cost of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So she, for me, Quinn, I see her as being in one sense like a lesser version of Rex. She does a lot of what Rex does, but obviously doesn't have all of the same clone type stuff with the hunkers and everything else.
Yeah.
But I think she's really good, right?
She's really
really,
good.
really good.
Do you want me to say some things that are going to be really confusing?
Go on.
So, I feel like Ahsoka is a secondary.
Yeah, you don't
Whereas
take her.
Rex is a primary.
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what it's doing is by taking Rex and her, what it's doing is giving you multiple chances of getting your primary units up the board before they activate.
Before
right?
you draw them, before you draw that Shatterpoint potentially as well. I have run, a list with her and Rex in plenty of times. It works really well for the reason you specified. Just that extra chance to trigger that move, potentially saving you with Shatterpoint usage for those primaries.
Let's just talk as well about her dice, right? 7/5, right? 7 dice from a secondary unit. And she's got a pretty good tree, right? She's got access
her expertise isn't bad either. It's like just a step below Rex once again.
3 shoves, right? A reposition, a jump, 3 heals, strain. Like she can dish out an expose as well. Like it's
not
she
super
does
heavy
a lot
on the damage, but she does a bit of everything, and I like.
But
that.
hers is about, for me when I play with her, it's about her getting around the board. Getting her to a position that your opponent never thought she could get to. Right. Yeah. So, she gets to make the jump or do the reposition or whatever it is, and then, and I love this. 3 expertise, you get a jump. Just mitigates anything your opponent does with shoves. And obviously, if they've put a pin on you, then sad times. But she's really good, Quinn. I really like her. For me, she is A tier, but
she's beneath.
I don't quite think she goes above the OG. I think as a 4, I'm leaning to him first over her.
Do you know why Rex is higher?
Because he's always first.
No.
Go on.
Because in his book, experience outranks everything.
There we go. That is true. Quinn, Obi-Wan. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Out of hiding. 8/2, costs 4. Has a tactic called Run. At the start of this unit's activation, choose a character in this unit or another allied character that is engaged with an enemy character. Let's clarify something here, Quinn. The other character has to be engaged. You do not.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible English, but yes, that is how it's been ruled.
Yeah. I mean, all it needs is a comma.
It needs a single comma.
After in this unit. But that's how it works. Heal and reposition. And again, just to clarify, you can't reposition then heal. It is a heal, then reposition.
Once again, another butchering of the English
even though it says
AMG.
and.
It's almost like we have a word for when things go in order, and it's
I know, right? Really nice. Like, at the start of his turn, he gets to reposition, right, essentially, for free. It's really good, right? It's really, really good. One of the best openers in the game right now. Mind Trick. When an allied character within 3 is targeted by an attack, this unit may use this ability. The attack ends. If it is the character's activation, it may make another attack targeting a different character. If it does, remove 2 dice from the attack roll. This has so many things in there, but essentially, Quinn, this is a Vader stopper.
Because this is lifesaver, right?
Yeah. Not only does the attack end, and if they then make an attack, they remove 2 dice. If they've taken 2 damage to get extra dice from Vader,
or they focused, a Vader's Fury, or any number of
anything
other
like that, all of that disappears. All of that was attributed to the previous attack that has ended.
Anakin targets someone after having been mind tricked away. Can't trigger I'm going to end this because that attack was not part of a combat action.
It's not a combat action, no, because it just says another attack. Also means that It also means, actually, would coordinated fire trigger first? I think it would.
It would trigger first.
So that would trigger first, yeah. But even so, it's really good. It costs 2, and it has to cost 2.
It has to cost 2. Like, to be honest, you could remove the last sentence regarding losing 2 dice. It would still cost 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I've got one gripe with it.
Go on.
Why is it the person being targeted that has to be within 3 of Obi-Wan? Surely it should be the attacker, because he's doing a mind trick on them.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. Don't like it.
Who knows? Couple of other things as well is you do not get, it's important to note, Quinn, you do not get that action back if you do not have another target within range. So let's say that you're Anakin and there isn't anybody else within range 2, you lose that action because you can't make another attack.
You have to be very careful around this arsehole.
Yep, absolutely. Also works at any elevation as well. Always remember that one, because that really can screw you over. Greater purpose. He has immunity to expose. And when this unit would gain exposed, one character in this unit may heal instead. Clarification on how exposed works on a combat tree. It is non-optional. If you want to go down a certain tree, you have to resolve everything at every option before moving to the next. So you can't just say, I'm not going to put the exposed on him and then carry on the tree. You can choose to stop before the exposed, but if you want to go past it, this is going to trigger because it is non-optional. This makes Obi-Wan a lot tankier than what he would seem at first for me, Quinn, because he will always have access to his expertise.
This is my favourite ability on his card, just because of how thematic it is with how Maul works.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
He pulls Obi-Wan in, and Obi-Wan's been prepared for this. He serves a great purpose, and just you're going to pull me in. Thanks for the heal, mate. We've been doing this for like 40 years. Let's go.
We've all seen how long that final fight between Obi-Wan and Maul lasts. And it's not very long.
Vroom.
Yeah, it's 3 moves. And Maul is no more. Spoiler alert. And then lastly, the last stand of the Jedi. For each injured token this unit has, characters in this unit add 2 dice to their attack and defense rolls. Which is pretty good, because let's have a quick look at his stance card. So, Quinn, again, it's an Obi-Wan. You don't get a lot of options, but each option is rampacked full of things. I think the majority of them have 3 things on there, which is unusual. His expertise is great. He's 5 defense across the board, 6 in attack. His expertise is perfectly fine, right? One strike for 1, 2, 1 crit and a strike for 2 and 3, and then 2 and 1 for 4. Lots of shoves. Lots of jumps, lots of heals. This is Obi-Wan. He's not purely an aggressive character. Can still dish out 6 damage, which is... 7 damage.
Yeah.
7 damage, which is perfectly fine. But this character's not around to murder people, right? He is a support piece in the best instance possible.
Support and also control in the same sense that, a blue magic deck is control, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Counterspell.
You can put him anywhere, Quinn. Yeah. He has no tags that have any benefit to anyone.
He's a Jedi.
Which may have something in the future. Where does he go for you?
He's got to be an A2. I mean, I can't tell what way you're umming and ahhing as to what you're going to argue, but if it's S, I'm going to punch you.
So let me put a counter to this. In the right list, where Force can be refreshed, that 2 for Mind Trick becomes less impactful. And I think he could get up to S tier because of that. But I think he is probably A, and I think he probably goes here.
Rex
You
is
thinking
always
here?
first, kid. And I'm not saying that just because of the meme, but I think Rex is genuinely the best of that A tier. Obi-Wan is really good, but because he doesn't have any innate synergies,
That's fair.
when you compare him to the kinds of things that Jango does, Obi-Wan is reliant on a list, whereas reliant on a list, as you said, that has like access to a lot of force fresh, that kind of thing. Jango just doesn't.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
he doesn't. Yeah, he's
that's the
completely
side
independent.
of no synergy you want to be on, rather than I rely on this sort of list. I bring the thing I do, but don't actually synergize with the rest of it. So potentially they're losing
Yeah,
out on something else by taking
and
me.
and for me, he pips Ahsoka just because he can go in any list.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
the thing for me. Oh, Quinn, we're getting into a couple of bad ones here. I think not bad. Bad's the wrong word. But starting off, Barriss Offee, Jedi Padawan, aka the goddamn terrorist. She costs 4. She's 8-2. She's got access to 2 active abilities. First one, Force Push, and it is
Very good.
identical to Asajj's, right? It costs 2, so it is it is very, very costly, but she does have access to it on her combat tree. She's going to need 5 results, which on 6, potentially up to 7
8.
dice, maybe up to 8, is not impossible, but it's
Potentially
harder.
9, right?
Um,
If she
6, 7, 8,
focuses.
9. Yeah, she can have up to 9. So I'd always say try and get the trigger first, rather than just spending the power. But it's really good. It is really, really good. Just force yeeting, as I told my opponent the other day. I'm going to force yeet your Rex. Is so good, and the fact it is on a secondary makes it really, really good as well. Force speed. It's pretty good, Quinn. Actually, one force for a full advance. Like,
I mean,
she's quicker than a boss.
She's faster than a master.
Barriss Offee, Jedi Padawan, faster than a master. Maybe that should be a full
Yeah.
Obviously, goddamn terrorist at the end there. For anyone that doesn't know, by the way, so the story is Barriss Offee blew up was it the archives or the temple?
No, it was like the hangar. It was one of the hangar bays, I think.
Yeah. On Coruscant, and basically is the reason why Ahsoka Tano left the Jedi Order, because she framed Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano was then arrested, blamed for it, and basically because they didn't believe her, that is the reason even once she was acquitted, which I believe Asajj helped her, actually. This is where Asajj and Ahsoka teamed up.
I mean, it's actually... It's Asajj's lightsabers that Barriss uses to fight Anakin with.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Also, I really love her whole reasoning behind what she did. I'm going to blow up all these innocent civilians because I don't agree with this war.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it feels a little bit off. Yeah, it's Force speed is good, but yeah, that's the history behind them two. So they absolutely hate each other. So quite thematic when they're on the opposite teams and Ahsoka just takes her out.
I mean, Phil gave me a team with them together in the same squad.
Slip away. So exactly the same as Asajj's. So when another allied Galactic Republic targets an enemy who is engaged with Barriss, she gets to immediately reposition, and gain a hunker. It's really nice. Like, again, it's a way of being able to, out of action, move characters, get them onto points, flip objectives.
I find
it's
it's
really,
often
really good.
my most forgotten ability. Like, if it's on a card, it can be really clutch and really strong, but I just tend to just blank that it's there.
Yeah, it's a little bit niche, isn't it, as well? But yeah, it is there. But you've always had a problem with reactive stuff, Quinn. Like, even in MCP, it was your one downfall was forgetting reactive.
I like hitting things and being the active player. I don't like this bit where my opponent gets to play the game. And I have to think about what they're doing. Ew.
So lastly, Quinn, Faithful Padawan, which, yeah, don't know how she got that title or key ability.
I feel like somebody in the studio is having a bit of fun.
I think maybe that's what it is.
A bit of japery, if you will.
So basically, when she is engaged with the same character as another allied Jedi primary, that allied Jedi primary gets to add 2 dice to their attacks. So actually, she
As being
can
that
up her.
character, she can up her own dice as well.
Can she do that?
Yeah,
Characters in this unit and others.
and
Yeah.
characters. Yeah.
Which is nice. And what's also nice about this, Quinn, is it isn't attack actions. It is just attacks. So there are some instances where potentially where that could work. You know, Anakin, for example, with his second follow up, would get the extra dice on his second follow up.
I think that is the only example, right?
Right now, I think it is. Yeah, but you know, I'm sure there'll be others in the future.
Funnily enough, doesn't work for Fifth Sector. You know why? Because Ahsoka Tano Jedi No More isn't a Jedi, doesn't have the tag Phil.
Of course, yes. Oh, did he try cheat with you again?
No, he put her in the squad, and I was like, oh yeah, mate, I'll try this. And then we were like, oh yeah, she doesn't have that.
She doesn't do it, yeah. After this unit makes a recover action, each other allied within 3 may remove 1 damage or 1 condition from itself. This gets overlooked, Quinn, for me, a lot.
Very important that it's an action.
It has to be a recover action.
It's not whenever you heal.
Yeah, so off your tree, this does not work. You need to actually use one of your actions to make a recover. Force User Galactic,
but yeah.
Yeah. Force User Galactic Republic Jedi, and then Padawan tag, which is again, we may see that come into play in the future.
I'd like Yoda to do something with Padawans, like
that'd be that'd be quite
he
nice,
lets them
it?
re-roll 2 dice like Cody does.
Yeah. As we mentioned, her combat tree, so Form 3 Sonisu, she's going to be 4 ranged, so a little bit susceptible to ranged, but 6'5". Duelist training, I don't mind. A block and a reposition off 2 expertise is nice.
I mean, it's a better way round than commando expertise.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah. Even a lightsaber is pretty good. You know, one for one, and when we say one, we mean a crit, is always nice, right? It's always nice to get one.
I really like the 2 for 3.
Oh, two for 3 is really good. Obviously, again, it kind of doesn't scale at the top end.
It peters out a bit if you roll 4. Like, you're a bit iffy, but still pretty good.
4 pushes, Quinn, she's got access to.
4 shoves, potentially 4 shoves plus a force push.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Like, that is a lot of just, manipulation of board presence.
Yeah, reposition off 1 as well is always nice. So yeah, she's pretty solid, Quinn. I do want to go back to her and maybe put her in a couple of lists that don't have Luminara in there, because that's where I played her before.
But maybe you're a little less like Jedi and Republic centric potentially. Just try and be like, I have a force push that isn't Tonisage.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
So I think for me, Quinn, I think I've actually taught myself out of where I was going to put her.
I mean, I was going to put her in C. I was always going to put her in. I thought you were going to go for D. I think she does belong in C.
Right. I think that's the thing, isn't it? We have to remember she is Galactic Republic, and we have 2 Galactic Republic secondaries that are better than her.
I mean, potentially 3. I think Cody actually does more for a list than she does. Just by his passive nature.
I think she's just more impactful on the game. I think she's more impact. I think over the duration of a game, because of the Force, you got to remember she's the only Galactic Republic character with Force push.
It's true, but I feel like she dies real easy too.
But also now imagine that you've got the arse in there as well, putting Expose out, giving her a much better chance of getting those 5 results in there as well.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all. I'm a little reticent to put Cody lower than her just because
she's a terrorist.
Well, not that. I'm fine with that. It's more that she. Once again, we come back to this notion of synergy and what a character does for a list. Secondaries for me typically want to be synergizing quite well with a given list, or they need to be stand out in what they do. in the vein of Kenobi and Jango. I don't think the synergy is there for Barriss, and I don't necessarily think that standout nature shows itself too often with her. But maybe that's just because I don't have enough board time. But she,
Yeah, we can. I think. Look, whichever way around we put them,
yeah,
they're not the best.
they're
There are
both
better
in C
options,
tier, right?
and I would say that they're different versions of each other. Right? He's
Yeah.
more of a support unit, ranged. She's more up close. A little bit of support, but a little bit of control as well. So depending on what you want. But again, both perfectly fine options, right?
Perfect service.
Third sister, aka Reaver.
D tier, D tier, D tier. Just no.
8-2. Call the Hunt. Cost 1. Choose an allied inquisitorial supporting character within 4. The chosen character may dash or make a 5 dice attack. But it costs 1. Why is this not a tactic, Quinn?
Why is it not a tactic? And if it costs 1, why isn't it both?
Yeah, either or, right?
Yeah.
You either get to do the dash and the attack, or it's a tactic and they get to do either. And it's free. Like, just way overpowered for what it is. Way overpowered. Force jump, yeah, it's fine. Like, no issue with that whatsoever. Deflect, yeah, okay, fair enough. And then your fear betrays you. Cost 1, reactive. When a character in this unit makes a melee attack as part of a combat action before the dice are rolled, it may use this ability. Remove 1 or more conditions from the defender. Add 2 dice to the attack roll for each condition that was removed.
Right, first of all, why does this cost force?
It should be an 8.
Second of all, have you seen her combat tree? What? You don't need more dice because you're playing her with Vader, so just take 2 damage.
Yeah. So 5-4 for defense, 7 for attack, which is fine, but only 5 options. Like her actual combat tree is not bad, but
Not great either.
it's okay. Like, access to 3 pushes, an expose, a jump. What's she maxing out at?
Caps
3?
out at 8.
Yeah, caps out at 8, which feels a little bad.
Very low for what they've tried to make her out to be, which is this character that really wants to pump dice into attacks to get to like the end of her combat tree.
Yeah.
Be like if she had like just she was very much backloaded in her combat tree and like sort of emphasizing that theme of pushing yourself, embracing your anger, your hatred makes you powerful, and sort of those big attacks where she invests all of that in, she pulls off major damage. I could really have seen that working for her as a character and just like conceptually and balance wise. But this is not it.
No. For me, Quinn, the 2 biggest problems are Call the Hunt and Fear Betrays You. I'm fine with her card. I'm fine with her tree. Call the Hunt should be a tactic. And still only do 1. I think I quite like that it's a choice. And then your Fear Betrays You should be an 8.
Should be an 8. I'd like to see maybe 1 or 2 extra damage sprinkled in that tree somewhere, just because then it feels like she's a bit more reliable in actually, hunting Jedi. Maybe if she just got like, do some more damage to like Jedi characters that have that keyword.
Yeah, Jedi Hunter type.
I also don't understand why her defense dice is so low.
Yeah, it's shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Compared to Fifth Brother and Fourth Sister, who both have 1 dice extra in each category.
Now, she does have dice manipulation, you could argue, but she needs 4 expertise to get it.
If she's in melee, she needs to roll everything on expertise for that dice manipulation. I just don't understand why. Also, why is she so bad at like melee defense? She's meant to hunt Jedi.
I know.
Those guys who are famed for using melee weapons.
Yeah, it's just not good enough. Guys, it is our first D tier. It is our first D tier. For me, this is the character they've missed the mark with the most in the entire game right now.
Definitely downward. There are some that I think upward they've gone maybe way too far with, but she's definitely gone too far the other way. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I feel like something changed in their design brief midway through the creation of this character, and that has impacted why she is the way she is.
Yeah, No, I agree. She would be the first character I would imagine there is an errata for. That's how bad I think she is.
I think so, yeah.
She just, yeah. And it's sad as well because you have to take her. You just have
You
to
don't
take
have to.
If you're playing Inquisitors.
I'd rather have Jango.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. At least he does things.
I mean, Kenobi.
On to the second of our super tactical droids, Quinn. This
Beep
time,
boop.
Kraken. Beep, 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 boop. Costs 1 less than his counterpart, so he's not quite as super as Kalani. Costs 1 more, so comes in at 4 with 10-2. So same stats lines. Tactic is do not let them escape. So it's once again all about movement, but this is any droid or any battle droid supporting unit, and each character can dash, and there's no range on it. And that's one of the nice things about this. And he can select himself, yes, because he is a battle. Or an okay, so it's himself or an allied battle droid supporting unit, which is nice. Is it as impactful? No, but it's always guaranteed. You can always do it.
It also means that his positioning matters less than Kalani's, which is quite nice.
Absolutely.
You've not got as many sort of hurdles to jump through, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We then get Tactical Network. It's identical. Costs the same, does the same as Kalani's. Complete analysis. We actually didn't go through this on Kalani's card. When you spend power to place, so basically it's still your reserve for that turn, so you can't do another reserve, but it costs you 1 less to do it. So
effectively it's free, which when you get to those sort of those last 2 or 3 cards left in your deck, you've spent all your 4s, or you've got very little left, getting that for free when you really don't want to go with them, quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Conqueror's Resolve. A character in this unit is contesting 1 or more objectives, active objectives, protection and steadfast, which is quite nice. Again, it makes him that much harder to take out and push off a point. Let's have a quick look at his tree. So once again, 3 results, exactly the same as Kalani, is going to get him his free active ability. He's 7-4, 5-4. So actually, less what's the word I'm looking for? Less of a glass cannon that Kalani is, in that he does have that extra 1 die on his melee, I think. I think Kalani only has 3.
He's only got 3
on his melee. Still range 5, still 7. Doesn't bring the 1 dice extra for everyone, which is where, that's a
big chunk of that extra 1 cost that Kalani has.
Absolutely.
Because of how powerful that ability is and how much it affects the game.
Yeah. Has the same expertise. His combat tree is not as good.
It's not quite as good because you're forced to make a choice between damage or the free ability. However, there is a massive flavor win in this combat tree, or rather this stance card, which is his melee expertise.
Yeah.
Because he gut punches the chosen one like an absolute Chad. And that's why on 4 expertise, on 5 dice, he gets 2 crits.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, 3 pushes in total. Like you say, you have to choose active ability or damage. You're generally going to choose the active ability because you would hope you would be more impactful with 5 up to 6 dice from a battle droid than you would be 2 from yourself. But it depends, right? If that would kill them, then or wound them, then you do that. So I think it's fine. He is a little bit to your point, Quinn, earlier where you talked about the secondary. He feels this, doesn't he? In the seps at the moment. Yeah. Perfectly serviceable. He is, however, needed. If you want to go full battle droid,
he just adds to that synergy, right?
Yeah, and you're taking Dooku, you need to take
a 4-cost.
You need to take a 4-cost secondary because obviously Dooku only brings 7. For me, Quinn, he is perfectly serviceable, and I would actually put him probably just above Bo-Katan in B tier.
There's more stuff that he synergizes with. Yeah, I think that is entirely reasonable.
I just think he's he's a little bit less impactful than some of the other characters, but I think he's perfectly serviceable, perfectly fine. Fills a gap in the Dooku thing if you don't want to take Jango.
Has a job, does it well.
Yeah.
Not much more you can say, really.
No, absolutely. Savage Opress. Not the newest anymore, because that title goes to the last one on here. Costs 4. Has a whole bunch of stuff on his card. We're not going to go through his card in a huge amount of detail. We've already done like 2 videos on Savage Opress. But essentially works very well in either Dathomirian or Separatist Alliance. He's got a lot of movement, steadfast protection, but he is a bit of a glass cannon, Quinn, isn't he? 10-2, he's just damage. He does damage.
He's a weird glass cannon because it's unlikely for him to be one-shot, but he doesn't have a lot going for him defensively in terms of fun tricks.
No, but he does have 9 damage as a maximum output on his tree, up to 14 if he triggers his active ability, which is very, very nice. I think he's a nice addition to the Seps. I think there's some really nice synergy with taking Dooku, him, and the Magna Guard. Having the Magna Guard in there to protect him, I think is really, really nice. I don't think he's game breaking. He's not going to be anywhere near S tier for me, Quinn. No. I think for me, he goes in that top end of B, bottom end of A.
I think top end of B, honestly, I think I would slip him just beneath.
Underneath? Oh, okay.
And the reason I say just underneath Bo is because, once again, that scope for expansion with Bo is just something that I keep coming back to, because there's so much more that I think she will be able to affect within the confines of this game than Savage, because I don't know how many more Separatist Alliance characters we're getting, and I don't know how many more Dathomirians we're getting.
I mean, you'd hope for some Night Brothers at some point.
Night Brothers, we want Merrin, obviously.
We could get the Geonosians, they're going to be Separatist Alliance.
It's more like just, he only works off primary units, right?
Yes.
Like, we'll probably get, I imagine, at most 3 more Separatist primaries, and I'm thinking like Poggle, Trench, someone out of left field.
Yeah, seems fair. Seems fair.
With Dathomirian, I don't know if we ever get another Dathomirian primary.
We've already got 2. 3. Sorry.
You've already got 3. Merrin's not a primary.
No, not at all.
She is the definition of a secondary character, and Taron Malakos is not Dathomirian.
Yeah.
You don't know who that is, do you?
No.
No, you've not met him in that game.
Is he from
He's from Fallen Order.
Jedi, Fallen Order Survivor? Yeah. I'm okay with him. I'm okay with him there, Quinn. I am okay with him there. I do agree. Bo-Katan stock should go up quicker because we know 2 Mandalorians confirmed. Right, we've got Din Djarin and we've got Sabine Wren. We already know they're coming out.
And then I would put money on P. Vizsla within the next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Rounding out the list, Quinn, the newest CT-411 Commander Pons, proudly in his Phase 1 clone armor there, as we can see.
I don't like it. Everyone has a Phase 2. He ruins my aesthetic.
So let's have a look at what he does. He's going to cost 3. He comes in the Mace Windu box, so he has to cost 3. Charge. At the start of this unit's activation, choose another allied Galactic Republic character. The chosen character may dash. No range and no speculation, no stipulation on it having to be primary, secondary support or anything else like that.
It is worse than get a move on soldier in 2 ways.
No hunker.
No hunker. 2, can't pick himself.
Yes. Yeah. Has to be somebody else. But he does cost 1 less. So, yeah. You'll notice a lack, Quinn, of defensive maneuver.
Yeah, which is strange.
Because he has no way of being able to move himself other than a move action.
Yeah. Which he could take cover.
Yeah, which is an action. So incoming allied clone troopers within 3 that have 1 or more hunker tokens have immunity to expose. They don't get all the extra stuff, right?
It feels
that
kind of
Obi-Wan
ironic
does.
that he comes in the box with ARF troopers, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Mm.
But yeah, pretty nice Quinn, especially with the Night Sisters, especially with everything else that we've got out there. Clone Trooper, so it is anyone with a Clone Trooper tag.
Yeah, I'm glad that it is Clone Troopers and not Galactic Republic, because I feel like that would just be even more silly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Galactic Republic are already in a very powerful place, and as much as I love playing Republic, don't always like playing the most powerful thing in games, and they definitely feel like the most powerful thing in this game.
Does work on himself because he's always within.
He's always within three of himself. I mean, he's spending an action to get that hunker, or Rex is helping him out.
I think Rex is helping him out. And then Forward Scout. When deploying a squad that includes this unit, allied clone trooper secondary characters and allied clone trooper supporting characters may be placed within 2 of the first place character from that squad's primary unit instead of the normal 1. That is almost, it's like 2.5 times. Because it's a little bit more, isn't it? Range 2 is a little bit more than 2 1s, I think.
It's 3 times the size of a 1, but you're factoring in a base, right?
That's what I mean. So with the base, it's not quite. It's real good. It's real good.
Interesting wording on that last bit of the first place character from that squad's primary unit. Obviously, future-proofing for 2 character primaries.
Yeah.
Which, is very much an interesting design place to be explored. I like it. It's a nice little thing. Potentially allows you to circumvent some unfavorable terrain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, feels like the theme of what the ability is.
Get height, yeah, it's going to be to get to that elevation that you can't quite get to, isn't it? Superior recon is tree. It's not bad, capping out at 2, 4, 6, 7 damage.
I do think it's important to mention that he is 7 health.
He is 7 health, yeah, he is 7 health. But he's 5 defense. He's got his phase 2 clone armor. God damn AMG. To your point, Quinn, he's not even alive.
He's not even alive at the point that armor is rolled out.
But
you know what? I'm not even going to blame AMG. You know what? Fair enough. They might not have realised that. Lucasfilm. What are you doing? What are you doing with your IP, mate? Doing.
Okay, Quinn. Where does he go?
He's solid B.
Yeah.
He does his job. At the moment, he has some extra value that will depreciate because he's the only 3 cost in the game, secondary-wise. Once again, because I'm a simp for Lady Bo, I would put him beneath Bo. Just because
below.
His value... Once again, Bo's value is going to go up, but also Pods' value is going to depreciate.
Because there'll be others as well.
The moment there are more 3s in the game, he suddenly has actual competition now, and is probably worse.
I'm not sure a 3 cost secondary is something we're going to see a lot, though. I don't think we're going to be inundated with them.
We're definitely going to get that Stormtrooper Captain. We'll probably
he's absolutely,
1 or 2 more, maybe a T-Series tactical droid as like a 3 for Separatists.
Quinn, I could see the Stormtrooper Captains
being
2. And the Stormtroopers being 3.
I could see the Stormtroopers being 2 as well.
2 as well, yeah. And you just got Vader. I am...
All I am surrounded by is fear and dead men.
So there we go, guys. What I will say, Quinn, is there is far much more of the bell curve that we see in this one than we did with the supports. And I think that's good. But we also have more secondaries in the game than anything else, right? Because we get Padawan Ahsoka Tano who breaks the rules.
Padawan Tano and Ben.
Well, Ben is cancelled by Vader because that gives us an extra primary.
Yeah, but that pack has no support, right?
No support. Yeah. So we get.
But then I
so
guess
there's
that's counted out by the Inquisitor pack because that has 2 supports. It's all a bit weird.
Oh, it does actually have 2 supports, doesn't it? Yeah, good point. But even so, it's a nice curve. Again, with the exception of Reva, the third sister, who really needs something doing to her. I would even say the ones that are S tier, in our opinion, are not broken.
They're really good, but you don't feel like they're oppressive. To be honest, I think the most oppressive person on this list is not Savage, because that would be a silly joke to make. It's probably Kenobi.
Because he just stops things, right?
Just because he goes, no. And also I feel like, that there are some wording issues on that ability that could have been a bit better thematically.
Yeah,
don't know
absolutely.
why the character being attacked is within 3 feels real dumb.
Who knows?
Yeah. I'd like to see some help for Cody. Barry might get better one day. Who knows?
I think Barry's stock might just go up naturally anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, look, I think there we go, guys. Secondaries are an important part of the game. They bring some extra flavour. As I say, often they feel like they are the supporting unit, even though the supports are the supports. But
it's interesting how they've gone through all those naming conventions.
Yeah. But it does feel like, doesn't it? Feel like they are the captain to the general.
They're the buff bots, right?
Yeah. They're doing the things that
the
make things better.
They're the cohesion between all your different synergies, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But there we go, guys. Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. We'll obviously be rounding this series out probably next week now with the primary characters. Who know? We might even have another primary character to throw in there. Cad Bane.
I mean, it's going to be Padme. You know it, right? We are brave.
We are brave.
That's the other thing I forgot to mention when we did Ahsoka. The reason why she's bottom of A is because she has the worst named ability in the game.
Which is?
She is fearless. What does that have to do with her jumping?
Yeah, because she jumps in and helps the clones out, doesn't she?
What, you think that wasn't covered by getting ahead of yourself against Lips?
Who knows? Let us know what you guys think down in the comment section below. We got some really positive feedback on the last one. As I say, when we do these tier list videos, it's not just about ranking them. We do a little bit of a dive into, how they play and everything else like that.
Yeah, we try and have a bit of banter, a bit of discourse, and also their opinions.
They are opinions.
Oh, you know what we didn't do?
Go on.
We didn't mention that one guy.
Oh, there's your mention.
There you go. That one guy doesn't like Japanese tier systems for some reason. Shout out to you.
Big shout out to Leodis Games, the sponsor of the channel, and also a big shout out to all of our Patreons. You just help us to continue to be able to make this type of content, so thank you very much. And if you do want to support us on Patreon, you can do so from as little as £1 a month. But if you don't have £1 a month to spare, do not worry, because you can help us purely by engaging with this video, clicking the like button, hitting that subscribe button, and leaving us a comment down below as well. And if you do want to, give it a little share. Apparently that's a thing now that people say. We'll leave it there, guys. Remember, we've got our Discord as well, so head on down over there. Reminder, the 7th of August, deadline for getting your submissions for the first ever TTS Shatterpoint League. Completely free to join. I've done a video on it. Go check it out.
By submission, do you mean signing up, right? Because it is open lists.
No, it's a premiere.
No, it's open lists.
Oh, we might have changed it. We'll double check.
Definitely changed it because I made it happen.
Oh, there we go. And as always, guys, it leaves you with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, may the Force be with you.